everybody, it's Kathy with Simply Cards by Kathy, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. I have a lot to share with you. Today is Tuesday, August 3rd, and the July to December 2021 mini catalog went live today, so you now can order from it. And it is full of so many beautiful stamps and dies and designer series paper. If I could have ordered the whole catalog, I would have. But besides that, celebration starts. And if you don't know what celebration is, it is a separate brochure with designer series papers and stamps that cannot be found in either of our annual catalog or our mini catalog. Celebration allows you to earn free products for every $50 you spend, and it doesn't matter if you spend it using the annual catalog or buying from the mini catalog or a combination of the two. You still earn free products. And Celebration has beautiful designer series papers that go with many of the stamp sets that are in the annual catalog that did not have designer series paper already paired up with them. So it's in addition to. And it has some stamp sets that are really beautiful. And some of those stamp sets and some dies, we're going to be using a lot of them in the next few months coming up in making cards and some paper crafting. So I'll be excited to share those with you too. But today we're going to focus on one particular stamp set, Nature's Harvest. And it is in the mini catalog. And while I could buy the whole catalog, I think Nature's Harvest is probably one of my favorite stamps so far. I had played with it all weekend and was so excited with some of the different things I was able to do with it. I decided that I wanted to share that with you today. Just a few other things. If you are new to Stampin' Up! And you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would be honored to be your demonstrator. Just go up to the top of the website, click on it and contact me. Also, if you don't have a catalog, whether it's the annual catalog or the new mini catalog, send me a message and I'll be happy to send you a catalog for free. So before we waste any more time, I'm going to flip this camera down and we're going to get started. You can see I have Nature's Harvest stamp set here, and I have the Harvest dies here. I do keep my dies on a magnet sheet. I try when possible to put them on a 5x7, and I store them inside my stamp case so that they're together. But if the dies are bigger or there's a lot more of them and I can't get them on a 5x7, I do store them on a 6x7. And I slide them into a sleeve, and that's how I keep them. So I'm gonna set these aside and bring over our mini catalog. And you'll find this Nature's Harvest bundle on page 54 and 55. I actually bought the suite because I really liked all of the embellishments that came with it. It also comes with a time-worn type embossing folder that looks like old type writer print. And it comes with this cork specialty paper, which I actually love. And I have a piece of it here to show you. We are going to use this today on our card. And this actually feels and looks like cork. And if you turn it over, it's backed on a very thin piece of paper. But I will tell you, in taking it out of the dies, you need to be careful. I use my pick tool to gently push it out, and then it comes out quite easily. Beautiful papers using the colors of Calypso Coral, Bumblebee, Soft Succulent, Misty Moonlight, and Crumb Cake. And I have some samples here for you. Today, though, as we make our card, we're going to, and I'm going to fold this over, you can see it a little bit better, we're going to case this thank you card. But I'm going to do it using different colors. I'm going to use the Misty Moonlight with Crumb Cake designer series paper, and we'll see how that turns out for us. These are samples of the designer series paper, and you're going to see pieces and parts of some of them because, like I had said earlier, I've been playing with this for days and I've almost used up all my designer series paper and had to order more. So you can see really beautiful patterns, nice and bold, using the bumblebee color. And this is many of the floral designs that you see in the Harvest die bundle and also with the stamp set. This is a wheat pattern and crumb cake. And again, you have Calypso Coral, Misty Moonlight, and the bumblebee on this. This is just very subtle. I really like that, and you'll see a card where I use that later on. And this has a leaf pattern and a branch pattern in the Calypso Coral. This is a branch pattern with very subtle white leaves on the branches. And on the back, we have our soft succulent with the Calypso Coral and bumblebee. This is soft succulent, and it has that time-worn typescript on it, just like you would see if you were embossing with that folder that comes with the suite. And on the back is bumblebee, and it has a floral pattern. And then a geometric or a small diamond pattern in the Misty Moonlight. And on the back side is Calypso Coral with a leaf pattern. So really beautiful papers. You'll see in the card I'm going to demonstrate for you today, and we're going to bring our supplies in, that I used the designer series papers to cut my flowers out. And I'm going to move this over to the side and I'll show you that. I did a lot of the prep work so that we wouldn't be going back and forth on the die emboss and die machine. These are branches I cut out of that cork material, and they're pretty flexible so you can move them around on the paper. And the rest of these were cut out of designer series paper. So that's what we're going to use to build our card today. And we're going to set these off to the side a little bit. We're going to use Misty Moonlight. It is cut at 8.5 by 5.5, and it is scored at 4 1/4. Do a nice crisp fold line so that it lays flat. And we'll set that off to the side. Now I have two pieces of basic white cardstock. One is for the inside, and don't worry about writing all these measurements down because they are going to be on the bottom of the video. When you're done, you click on it, and there will also be, it'll take you to the website where it shows the post, and it gives you a list of all of the materials that I used. The inside is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And on this card, I decided to leave it blank, but I cut a piece of matching designer series paper at 3/4 by 5 1/4, and we are going to attach that. That will give us some decorative edge. With the stamps with the cards that I'm going to show you afterwards, there are 4 other cards using different papers and some similar ideas, some different. And it'll be interesting to see which one you all like better. So that's going to be our inside. It's ready, and we're going to set it off to the side for now. With this front from the card that we said we're going to do, you can see that the designer series paper is cut on an angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this on top, and I'm going to take a ruler and just kind of mark where I want my line to be. I'm going to go down a little bit here. Okay. And I'm going to bring in my paper cutter and show you what I'm going to do is take where I made my pencil mark, and I'm going to lay that right in the track, and I'm just going to cut that. And you now have 2 pieces of paper. So you can use this for another card. I'll move that off to the side. Now on some of my cards, or one of the cards I believe, I ran these through the cut and emboss machine, and I used my stitched die. And I'm actually going to do this here. This is the biggest stitched rectangle die that there is, and I am going to show you exactly what I did. I did not adhere the paper to one another because I want to use this to cover up the stems on my flowers. So what I did is just lay this on top, and I took a small piece of washi tape. And this is just some extra tape I had laying around. And I attached it to the die, but to the outside edge that's going to get cut off to hold it. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. And then I'm going to run over to the cut and emboss machine, and we're back. Now, if you don't have the rectangle stitch dies, the card is going to be just as beautiful without doing this, so don't worry about it. So right now I'm going to set this off to the side too, and I'm going to bring in my silicone mat. And I'm going to put the glue on my mat, and I have a sponge, a stamping sponge that I've cut in pieces, and I'm going to bring in my pieces here. And because they're small, I'm just going to use some glue and dab it on. You don't need a lot, but I want to make sure that I hit the tips to hold those branches down. And then I'm going to set this on my basic white layer that's going to go on the top of the cardstock. I'm going to go ahead and do this for the second one. I mentioned to you that this is one of my favorite sets, and I've been playing with it. I think you can really use it with a lot of the other stamp sets that you might have, and kind of mix and match dies and flowers for it, which is what I like about it. And the other thing is, I live in Northeast Ohio. And our weather, when you get to August, you either can have some really hot weather, or your weather starts to change a little bit living in the northeast part of the state and up by the lake. And in August, I always say we can feel the change in the air and the smell in the air, and that's kind of where we are now. I'm going to set this, what looks like wheat, and adhere it. And now I'm going to take my yellow one and adhere that one. I want this one to go like that. Okay, and then my last one is the cone flower. And we're going to put this one right about there. You could cut the stems off if you wanted to, but I don't really think you need to. And now I'm going to take my half sheet of paper. Because I cut these together, you can see the stitched lines of the basic white and my designer series paper line up with one another. And because I want to do something a little extra on the card, I cut a 6-inch piece of this ribbon that we saw, the diamond weave ribbon, and a 3-inch piece. And what I'm going to do is fold this in half, and I'm going to take the 3-inch piece of ribbon and fold it together, and I'm going to feed it through one of the holes from top to bottom, and then I'm going to feed it back up through the next hole from bottom to top. And then as you pull it through, I'm straightening it out on the back a little bit so that it'll lay flat. And you now have a bow. So with that, I'm going to set this in the middle and see where I want it. And in order to adhere it, I'm going to take a glue dot and I'm going to adhere it to the back of the ribbon, right in the middle. I'm going to take another one and adhere it off to each side. Set this right on the edge of where the paper, two papers meet, the cardstock and the designer series paper. And I'm going to press it down. And that's really holding well. Then I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to snip this off just a little bit shorter. And I'm going to take a piece of just plain Scotch tape and tape that down. And I'm going to do the same for the other side. And there you go. So the edge got a little frayed pulling it through. So I'm just going to trim it off a little bit. And then I'm going to adhere this to my card base. And I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals to do that. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. Also, if you don't have the catalog, whether it's the annual catalog or the new mini catalog or both, just go over to my website and click on catalog and send me a message and I'll be happy to send you both of them. Now let's go ahead and adhere our inside, and again, the measurements will be on the website right underneath the video. I have a dragonfly that I made from Dragonfly Garden. And what I did is stamp it. And once it dried, I colored it with my Stampin' Blends with the colors that I've used here. Mini dimensionals on it. And I thought it would look cute, maybe right here in the corner of the card. And then I'll use two of these and we'll put this right here. So here's our card. Super easy to make. And you can see with this one, I did very little stamping. I used more of the dies, which I really had fun doing. And I think the dragonfly adds to it and it pulls in the colors of the flowers. And if you open it, your inside is finished. So that's our first card. And now let me bring in a couple others for you. This is one also from the stamp set with the cone flowers. And what I did is cut out a circle from my designer series paper and stamped the cone flower on there. And this is watercolored with watercolor pencils. And then I adhered both to the front of the card. And on the inside, I stamped the smaller flower that's in that stamp set. On this one, I did in the crumb cake, very similar, but switched up the color of the flowers, used the ribbon, and used some gems to decorate the front. This one I wanted to show you because it's very similar, but what I did differently is I took my Stampin' Blends markers and I colored the ribbon ahead of time with the Calypso Coral, the dark Calypso Coral, and I set it aside and I let it dry. And then I used that on the front of the card, which gives you some variety, so you can color it. And the last one, I did stamp and I colored with my blends, my alcohol blend markers. And really pretty and allows you to shade it. And then stamped, die cut and adhered the small flowers to the inside of the card. So 5 different colors, or cards, sorry about that, 5 different cards, all with a little bit of a different look. I really enjoyed showing this to you, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And I hope to see you soon when we do another video. Explore your love of stamping and card making and have a great day.